The untold story of a moment of life. My guardian angel. Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to share a story with you that still sends shivers down my spine. A story that profoundly shaped my understanding of family, protection, and those unseen forces that sometimes watch over us. It all started in what we thought was our dream home. Picture this, a beautiful two-story house, the kind you see in magazines. It was a huge step up for our family. There was me, my 3 older brothers, our mum, and our beloved grandmother. We finally had space to run around, a yard to play in, and separate rooms. It felt like we had made it. For a while, it was perfect. The laughter of my brothers filled the hallways, the smell of my grandma's cooking wafted from the kitchen, and my mum's gentle presence made every corner feel safe. It was everything a family could wish for. But homes, like people, have their secrets, and our dream house had a dark one. The problems began subtly. A damp spot on a wall, a strange smell after a heavy rain. We didn't think much of it at first. But then, the rains came with a vengeance one season. I was just a toddler, too young to understand the worried looks on the adults' faces. One night, I woke up, not to the sound of my mum's lullaby, but to the unsettling sound of splashing. The entire ground floor of our dream home was submerged in water. It was a surreal sight. Furniture was floating. Rugs were ruined. The muddy tide had swept through our living space. The dream had turned into a nightmare. My brothers, usually so boisterous, were quiet and huddled together on the stairs, watching the chaos unfold. My grandmother was trying her best to salvage family photos and precious keepsakes, her face etched with worry. And then there was my mum. I've always seen my mum as a superhero, but that night, she was something else entirely. While everyone else was in a state of shock, she sprang into action. She was a whirlwind of motion, grabbing buckets, mops, and towels. Her priority was clear: to reclaim our home from the flood. Before she waded into the murky water to begin the monumental task of cleaning, she looked at me. I was small, vulnerable, and probably just a crying, confused bundle in the middle of it all. She carried me upstairs to my room, to my little crib. She tucked me in, kissed my forehead, and whispered that everything was going to be okay. Her voice was calm, but I could feel the tension in her arms. She needed to focus on the disaster downstairs, and the only way she could do that was if she knew I was safe and sound, asleep in my bed. So, she put me to sleep, believing the second floor was a sanctuary, far removed from the watery chaos below. Downstairs, the battle continued. My mom worked tirelessly, her silhouette moving back and forth in the dim light. The only sounds were the sloshing of water, the scrape of the mop, and her determined breaths. The house was eerily quiet otherwise. My brothers and grandmother had eventually gone to bed, exhausted and defeated. It was just my mum against the flood. Hours passed. She was pushing water out the front door. A strange noise from upstairs caught her attention. It wasn't a cry or a whimper from me. It was a soft, rhythmic, ... something. A gentle, thudding sound, almost like something heavy being dragged slowly across the floorboards. Her heart probably skipped a beat. Every nerve in her body screamed that something was wrong. Wiping her wet hands on her pants, she left the mess downstairs and bolted up the stairs, her mind racing with 1,000 terrifying possibilities. She quietly pushed open the door to my room. Everything looked normal at first glance. The moonlight streamed through the window, casting a soft glow on my crib. I was there, fast asleep, not making a sound. My mum let out a sigh of relief. Maybe she had just been hearing things, her mind playing tricks on her after a long and stressful night. She took a step closer to check on me, to pull my blanket up a little higher. And that's when she saw it. Her breath caught in her throat. Her relief turned to pure ice-cold terror. Curled up directly beneath my crib, so close that it was almost touching the wooden slats, was a snake. And it wasn't a small garden snake. It was enormous. Its thick, patterned body was coiled in a massive, still loop. Its head was resting peacefully on its own coils, and it appeared to be sound asleep, just like me. The rhythmic sound she had heard was likely the snake settling into its resting place. My mum froze. She stood there, paralyzed, a silent scream trapped in her chest. Her baby, her youngest child, was sleeping just inches away from a creature that could have harmed me in an instant. Her mind couldn't comprehend it. How did it get in? Why was it there? And the most chilling question of all, why was it so calm? Why was I so calm? I hadn't cried. I hadn't stirred. It was as if two beings, one a helpless child and the other a wild creature, were sharing a moment of inexplicable peace. In that moment, 1,000 emotions washed over her. Fear, shock, and then an overwhelming sense of protectiveness. She knew she had to act. 2. But any sudden movement, any noise, could wake the snake and trigger the very disaster she was trying to prevent. Every instinct told her to snatch me out of the crib, but her rational mind knew that could be a fatal mistake. Slowly, ever so slowly, she began to back out of the room. Each step was deliberate, agonizingly quiet. She closed the door with a click so soft it was almost inaudible. She then raced to get help, her heart pounding a frantic rhythm against her ribs. What happened next was a blur of hushed, urgent phone calls and the arrival of animal control. They handled the situation with professional calm, but even they were stunned by the size of the snake and its bizarrely chosen resting spot. When it was all over and the creature was safely removed, my mom came back into my room. She lifted me out of my crib and held me so tightly I could barely breathe. She just stood there, in the middle of the room, crying silently. She was crying from fear, from relief, and from a profound sense of wonder. That night, she told me later, she didn't just see a snake under my crib. She felt the undeniable presence of something else in that room. She believes, and I've come to believe it too, that a guardian angel was watching over me. There's no logical explanation for why that snake was so placid, or why I remained so blissfully asleep. It was as if a protective barrier, invisible and silent, had been placed around my crib. Keeping me safe from the danger that lurked just below. That incident changed our family forever. We moved out of that house not long after. The dream had become a place of fear. But we took something with us that was more valuable than any possession. A story. A story of a mother's fierce love, a story of a terrifying night, and a story of a miracle. It serves as a constant reminder that even when we feel most vulnerable, we might not be alone. There are forces at play, whether you call them guardian angels, fate, or just sheer luck, that can intervene in the most mysterious ways. It's a story that strengthens my faith and fills me with gratitude every single day. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. It's a deeply personal one, and I appreciate you sharing this moment with me. If you have a story about a time you felt protected by something unseen, I would love to hear it in the comments below. 2. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more stories. Until next time, stay safe and take care.